The honourable member from West Bay West.
You got it right, sir. Thank you very much. Mr. Speaker, I rise to support the bill before the House. Mr. Speaker, as you know, the issues are not new. They're not new to me about cruise. Issues and questions arising from the cruise ship issue is, you heard it. Do we move from Georgetown? Where do we go? And you heard different places over the years, North Sound, breakers, don't do anything, spots, don't do anything. And then you've heard matters about the environment. Mr. Speaker, since we've been hearing that this is 30 years, but for 20 years I hear them talking, some members saying, this issue has been around a longer time than that. 1988, 4 years out of my 40, that matter was being talked about. Proposals too. And I've been part of the debate, and I've always supported it. And I've fought the forces who were and are against cruise. There was always, when I became leader of government and had policy in my hands as the Minister of Tourism, plenty of the opposition was put this way: oh, we can't allow McKeeva to have that kind of success of the pier for the people on his watch. Politics. Some of the same politics that are being played today. I've fought the forces who were and are against the development of upgraded properties that are used for long-stay tourism. Mr. Speaker, I ain't going to be long enough. I hope to give my colleagues some time to freshen themselves and get back to their seats. I hope people understand that and will think that I am any wishy-washy speaker. What I believe in, I stand up and tell the world about it, because I believe that it's the right things to do. I am not one, on the one hand this and on the one hand that, and I'm not one to ride the fence. I'm not one to be on jack of both sides, as the old people say. And so, I want to see a new pier. It has been well established how it will be built. Mr. Speaker, not a large, long, huge block of cement that would divert the course of the tides, but appear on pilings that water flows and marine life thrives, young fish, and where sponges can grow. You've seen it. Go to every island, practically in the Caribbean, that have a cruise tourism. I think all of them do. And you will see that they have established these kinds of piers. It's not a destruction of the environment. There has to be a balance, and I've always, I think, and believed, campaigned, and when in office, put in place things that I thought balanced, that brought about a balance between development and environment. And I appreciate those people who want to protect and save, but you can't stop. That's the thing, and that's what they are about, because I do not hear the alternatives. And when you really push them, Mr. Speaker, then they come back fighting and tell you, we don't need it, we don't need it. Then you get them out in the ring. They use the excuses about the environment. But the truth is they are against cruise tourism. And then they say, you can't do cruise tourism because that is help blocking the long-stay visitors. And there are some challenges there, and that's where we need to sit down and get a balance, a proper balance. I want to see us build it. I want to see us encourage it for many, many reasons. I want to see the new pier because that's Caymanians' biggest business, and they can grow their income, which brings bigger revenue paid to government. And Nassau is about the size of Cayman. They got probably 300,000 people right in Nassau. Yes, there are days that you don't want to go downtown because of traffic. 5, 6 big cruise ships lined up, people making money, people doing all sorts of things. And here we are, a developing country. One of the biggest industries for Caymanians, well over 3,000 people in the business. What are they doing? Thousands of Caymanian families are in the business and benefiting from cruise tourism. They're not doing good now. And the absence of supporting it to get excellent facilities for it, where our visitors don't have to stand in the sun or rain. For Cayman Islands to be a first-class destination for tourism, the balance has to be there. It would have been great if we never started, for some I guess, hadn't started on the course of cruise tourism, but it started. And the people invested. That's where Caymanians go. They borrow money to buy a bus, 14-seater, 25-seater. Now they got bigger ones. Then they borrow money to get a boat. That's where they borrow money to do a little business. Believe you me, whether it is a conch shell stand, some put their efforts into it. Either borrow it from somebody. Some of them don't have it all. I know because I've helped other people before. And we complain that, oh, look at the traffic. You want to tell me, Mr. Speaker, that for 3-4 days a week, we can't put up, if it's in Georgetown, with the efforts made by your government and other governments, and the one being made now by my ministers and this government, to widen roads, to fix roads, to divert traffic in different ways. You want to tell me that Caymanians are that unmindful of what cruise tourism do? You heard what the minister said. If anybody believe my Minister of Culture was talking foolishness, they're making a big mistake. The money that was poured out to the tourism sector during COVID by your administration, they believe that is a joke. They believe it's a joke when Ivan hit us, and I had to do the same thing. People might not remember it. Some people don't know because it wasn't born yet. And they're not going to give me credit. Oh, that's the last thing they want to do, is to say McKeeva did something like that. But I did it too. I did it too. Thank God the country had the money to do it. Imagine if you hadn't had the revenue, Mr. Speaker, at that time. Imagine back in 2004 and 5, if we didn't have money, which we opened up the country to get the money. They're still cussing about status, but go talk to George McCarthy when we gave the status. All sorts of investment opened up, and government had millions of dollars that we could put into people's hands and put into business and help save business. People forget. Oh, yeah, they do. Again, you're not going to hear that McKeeva Bush did it. They don't want that known. Because some of them still think that I am running for leadership. The only thing I'm running for is West Bay West, where the people know me better and who have supported me for 40-odd years. But West Bay West, only since 2017. For that no-good system that's in place now, and I can say this too, I might just offer, and I want to check out legally, because I don't believe, and somebody has to show me why I couldn't move an amendment to say the question should be whether we want this same system, electoral system, to exist. And I can believe you this. You can believe me. If you put that on the ballot, you can believe you can get a yes vote. Because the people are fed up being split up. People are fed up being split. And where so many machinations can go on and money spent all in one place, no. People not want that anymore. They're sick and tired of it. And if I could put an amendment to this bill, Mr. Speaker, I would do so. I'm hearing that you can't to put the question for the referendum. Do you want the present electoral system to exist? You want to see something? Put that on there. And you can believe the next government, if we hold true to our standing orders and believe that government needs to be saying something about motions that are passed, because, boy, that is one brilliant move. You know how many motions? My first term of government, 84 to 88, 93 motions I moved in this house. Mind you, there had to be some movements for me to get all them motions in. But 93 passed. Not a lot done. Government passed it to satisfy you, and you don't get much done. Plenty was done. But plenty went unnoticed. And I was told, we just let you talk. That's what they told me. But how does our people believe that we can continue with a rinky-dinky operation and they can say what they like, Mr. Speaker? What operation we have now, we done well in building the Royal Waterland and the South Terminal, the renovations I made there. Done well when we stopped the day operations of cargo and put it in the night, simply because tenders were coming loaded with people and cranes was swinging 40-foot containers over them. Twice I know about. And that's what made me make that decision as the minister then. This going to stop us, or we can get in big trouble. One ain't let go, you know. Twice. One on a 20-foot and one on a 40-foot container. I said, no, not on my watch. I took the blows because some people didn't want it, and we shifted and made crews. When the cruise is in, made them operate. And like cargo went to night on those days. Yes, there are times we have to make the changes. We have to make the change that I can't understand why there has to this big hullabaloo. Oh, the world is coming to an end if you build a cruise ship here. Jesus, and the whole world is leaving Cayman behind. Look at the plans that you all, I know how much went into that because I campaigned for it. How much went into those plans that the PPM had. Went backed out. The only thing that I disagreed with was taking $6 million to take up an old broken down thing or for what? Where in the world is there a dive site in the middle of a harbor, a dock? Where? Nonsense. Oh, it would be nice. It would be nice if you had a pristine environment out there and never had to worry about crews. But that's not the case. That's not the case. I wouldn't have spent, and I said that at the public meeting in West Bay, would not spend $6 million to do that. But the other plans was an improvement on what we had in mind. What the Chinese were putting forward was one of the best plans. But that got torpedoed because they just didn't want me to get anything done. Yeah. That proposal, members, was that we build the pier, build the facilities on land, created so many more acres, so we had to, yes, take up some of the environment there, the marine environment, because you were creating, I can't remember, 5 or can't remember the acreage to make it bigger. But the dock, you had to build the dock and pilings. The Chinese had it. You would remove in bad weather the planking, let's call it, and take that in land, and what we left out there in bad weather would have been the pilings. The plan is there. But Big Mouth Duncan, him, didn't want that, like they didn't want the Chinese to do their exchange down here because that won't give London competition. That's all that was. They torpedoed me on that too. London makes about $60 million a year, I understand, in their first year when they put it in up there. They didn't want me to do that. I listened and I said, I'm not going to run, Mr. Speaker. But when I watched some of those who are proposing to run and joining this party and the next party, and you can imagine now, last election, what a thing it was. Party system was such a bad thing. Now every Tom, Dick, and Harry is forming CCP, MPP, APP, and the next one and the next one. I say to our people, think carefully. There's no time for trainee government. No time for trainee government. Get people, even them that might be in opposition to me, put people with knowledge in. And not just knowledge coming out of school, because if anyone thinks that running government is the same as running a business in the private sector, it cannot be the same. Cannot be the same. And all the complaints you get, well, we're not getting anything out of it. Whose fault it is? You go, look at the permits. The only people that can get permits for mostly anything, let's say, but we're dealing with the cruise sector, are Caymanians. If you see somebody with a permit out there, they are hired by a Caymanian. So who complaining? What they want? Man, you are done say, you don't like the neighbor, but you want to borrow him bicycle. It is Caymanians' business, Mr. Speaker. It is Caymanians. And they are not, some of them think you just got to get a boat, and that's it. Got to get a taxi, and that's it. Much more than that in service. Cayman is a service economy to tourism and financial services. And you don't hardly hear them complaining about financial services, but they're complaining about tourism and the development it brings to get it. You want a first class, which I said I'd like to see us get, not in numbers of population, but certainly could be Cayman, could be the Singapore of the Caribbean. If we did the right things and thought right and stop this attitude, as Gerard said in 58, if a Caymanian can't be the captain, him going down into the engine room and break up the engine. What an indictment. That's what he said as the then governor or commissioner he was at the time. And some of that attitude, thank God most of it is gone. Thank God. But plenty of it still exists, and it's coming in here. It's coming in right in here. If I can't be, then you can't be. I can go tell somebody, they can fix you, they can scandalize you. I ain't looking for no leadership post. I'd be a fool at 70 to want to go in to cabinet. Not what I know my colleagues are going through, and what other ministers go with you recently, not long ago, Mr. Speaker, not that long ago. Issues getting tougher by the minute. But some of these people believe that, oh, all we got to just get up and complain and say, I'm Caymanian. That don't cut it. It makes me want to be proud to say, I can support them. I will fight with them. But we need to be realistic too. Stop that attitude. You just can't get in there and think that you can change the whole world, where in this island, not gonna happen. They're barking up the wrong tree. And I tell you how difficult it is, Mr. Speaker. You might not have your ear as close to the ground that you used to have it, because you're not in that business anymore. I don't know if I'm right, Mr. Speaker, but anyway. Think about what was being negotiated. Government don't have no, and look how things can be so misleading and misled by people who want to derail and broke down and stop. And who suffers in the long run? Our people that me and you and the rest of us in here have to take out our pocket, that we can't get our bills paid, to pay for, help them with their bills. There's the people that hurt. But look at it, what was said. Government is in Bacchus giving away Bacchus government land. Where government got land in Bacchus, besides the 163 acres that I think it was 163 that we bought for the Bacchus National Park. Not one scrap of beach government owns up there. Not one. Yet you look at one of them online, I don't want to even call them news. And what they said, government was up there giving it away. What government was trying to do was to get it, was to try to get some land up there so that locals have a place to go on Easter that is theirs, not private property. And that's another attitude, Mr. Speaker. Maybe I'm going far off, I don't know. But you haven't stopped me yet. But think of it. We don't have no land backers, except for what I talk about, swamp land. But we don't have no beach land. But, and I said this a couple of days ago, and of course, the would-be champion of Daughter News got up and said that I was against Caymanians because I said that Caymanians are selling their land and expect to have it too, and you cannot do it. And they came after me to tell me, young lawyers, that I was wrong, penal code do matter in this. Cayman Islands. Well, if you can go and tell them after they bought the land, don't you know that they can come to you one of these days and come through your yard and say, I want a road through your yard too? So where are your rights? Property rights are property rights. I think in the Constitution we have that protection. And in the penal code, if you do something wrong, you do something wrong. But these are the kind of things, and these are the kind of issues that surrounding this referendum, going to be surrounding this referendum. I agree with that. And let me get to that one point, because I hear that flung around a little bit too. I said in the beginning that I didn't see that we needed, and that was the first time I went to caucus, I didn't see that we needed to have a referendum. I am one of them, yes. I ain't no dictator. I think they got much more evidence of that today than McKeeva Bush. But I believe that you elected me to lead. You gave me your vote. I can come to you, explain and talk to you, but to come back to get another vote, I do not ever believe, and this is one thing that me and Benson always agreed on, I don't believe in referenda like that. Not for that sort of situation. Constitution, yes. But a law like this to do what? But I then, when the minister presented his case, I said, I support the issues that is put forward. I had my doubts about the cannabis one, the ganja one, because I felt like people were trying to use that to get votes. Oh, yeah. But I don't have to do that. I've never been elected on that kind of basis. I've never been elected by the press. My biggest opposition been there. Never been elected. If I can't win the election by this go round, then I've lost. I don't wait till election day. Who fools who to do that? And so I said to the minister, I will be supporting the bill because I want to get the issues done. It's going to take time, and that was another argument. Yes. He bravely stepped forward, put it forward. Now we have to live with it. It's going to take more time, but we have to live with it. At one point I said, boy, the people, Mr. Speaker, are not going to support this thing like this. But the truth is, I think there's more for us than against us, as the church chorus says. There's more for us than against us. Oh, you got them out there, and boy, they can chat. And some of them got M-O-N-E-Y. I hear it. But I believe that the people understand. And when you got 3,000 to 4,000 Caymanians that are in this business and are losing, I know they are losing, because people come to me today, I suspect come to many of us in this house that have never come to us and asked for any kind of handout. And now they need it. The business is down, and that's their business. They got to pay the loans. Some people don't understand that. So am I going to sit back and say, no, I can't do that. I want to see, when it comes to the environment, yes, let's try to do what we can to balance the blows that people might think the environment is picking up. I don't see it being picked up from a pier here in Georgetown. I don't see it being picked up by one in Cayman Brack. And we've got to think about it. We have to move forward. People want to invest, get them to do it. It don't have to be government money. Government can be a partner. It's the Queen's bottom. So we can be a partner. I know one thing. If they had left Mr. Darwin alone, we would have had that Dr. Cuba now, because he told them so. When environment went at him, boy, you going out this far? He said, I can put this out to Cuba. I I guess the levity of it, but Mr. Speaker, just in case there are those who might ask why I didn't get it built. I think the world understands that I tried to. But we upgraded the South Terminal area. We put in place the night operations that I explained just now. The ships can come now without such danger. They use the tenders, but they can come in without such danger. We built the Royal Watler Pier with the help of the Florida Caribbean Cruise Association and with the encouragement and advice of Robbie Hamilton, the late Robbie Hamilton, and the late Mr. Norberg Thompson. And people said, well, they had business, of course. But that didn't stop their sense because they had business. And Mr. Norberg said, that's why I'm in business. And I thank those gentlemen because from then, there was this group, and we went throughout the Caribbean because it wasn't just localized here, you know. And some of the argument that we are hearing, Mr. Speaker, not coming from just Cayman, not coming from people overseas that are helping the people here that are against it because they are against it wherever they exist. That's not new. We had to go through the Caribbean. Twice I was offered to be the CTO head. I said, no, I don't need that. Twice. We fought that issue, and it got settled down. They got settled down because one of the big issues that you get with the cruise is that, oh, you're taking up all the space, full of cars, full of boats, and only some of what's supposed to get. And the controllers had the hotels. So the small people didn't have that kind of control. They were at the cruise out here with a little boat and a car and a bus. And we fought to get it. And now they want to kill it. And they have done a good job because if they had left the PPM alone, we would have had the doctor there. If they had left me alone, we would have had it too. And now we're here 30-something, 36 and a half years that I know about from 1988. And we still haven't got anything. And I say this to our Caymanians, stop this. We went to one of the meetings in Santo Domingo. We negotiated $75 for certain tours. Go back here, Saw him making $1 over what Tom was making, and he went lower. And that's how it went with Jim. Went lower, and what they get out of it now. They fought amongst themselves and killed the effort. We should be getting top dollar. I don't know who else believes that, but that's one of the things that a new government has to do. We have to put, that's why I call it balance. You have to put it in place. You have to make the regulation. You have to put it in place that Tom, Dick, and Harry, you want to fight amongst yourself, go ahead and kill one another. But this is what's going to cost to go to Sandbar. Yes. This is what it's going to cost to go Stingray City. And then the complaint is that, oh, the cruise ship is taking it all. The cruise ship is taking it all because they're smarter. The business Caymanians are fighting amongst themselves, and we, as a country, need to put a price, a better price, on our tourism areas that people, attractions, tourism attractions. I didn't say anything, Mr. Minister, about the turtle farm one, but I'll say that, about that, what I say about schools. I want one too. The turtle farm was built for that, and we're spending $6 or $7 million a year. And so we need to put that into the discussion. I know in my area and wherever I go, now you might want me on your platform when I talk about it, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Minister, because people might not like it, but I know where I live. And I am going to talk about that Cayman in Georgetown, because you can talk to the fowls cut teeth. Nothing else can happen. It can be right here. That's what's going to happen. And certainly, I believe we have already done the studies. Turtle Farm needs to have something where the ships come to, at least one ship. So, Mr. Speaker, maybe I've gone longer than I expected, and I wasn't not in the best frame of mind to holler. Huh? Mr. Speaker, the members reminded my colleagues reminded me that on the matter of gaming, the minister gave a lineup of good things that we can utilize the money for. And I'm going to debate this long, because the fact is I believe we should have it. And I believe that's another one that can pass. That's going to pass, because people, again, every time they can hurry. They come from church to call. I hear people call me, your birthday is 20th, right? Oh, yeah. Yeah, my birthday is the 20th. Well, you know what that's all about. They're not bringing me no birthday present. They got that in mind to play. Yeah. So I don't have to talk long on that. That is something that I believe the country accepts, and I believe it will be the right thing to do. And it's not going to stop us, the Honorable Leader of the Opposition said, it's not going to stop the legal stuff. I don't believe that either. I don't think that it's hurting. And I look at Nassau and look at the stats there. Mind you, crime is there like in other areas, but I don't, from what I understand, it's not attributed to the gaming industry there. And they do, because they legalize the numbers, and while they have the other gaming that nobody wants to talk about. But Cayman better really look at something else, because if we lose any one of these industries for whatever reason, you better have something else to hang on to. You won't get $1.2 billion in revenue. On the cannabis, far too many young persons have paid a penalty that they ought not to have paid. Now, I don't buy all these stories about this one for so long have a record, because thank God the DG, they got it possible now. 5 years, you get it, you slate quite clean. Now, maybe you can say we can do something else with that, but I don't think that if you had 19 years ago and you still got it, well, somebody not helping you. Maybe you're going to talk to the wrong MP to lead you in the right direction. I don't know. But I don't know if that is right. Can be for possession, simple possession. Can be. Can be. I don't buy that. And I said, my concern was the abuse. That was what I always said. I know where I grew up. I know how hard they tried to push me in it. I know some of them guys that they were older than me, and I didn't know what they were doing. But I got down in the wind of it, and when I went home, you can believe this, Mama knew there was something wrong, and I got some licking that you never know. What you were doing there? Well, Mama, I don't smoke, but you had no business being there. And that's what she pounded me for. Yeah. I had cousins that developed sicknesses, but that's what they started with. My aunt lost 3 sons in the run of 16 months. 3. Fourth one, took another 5 or 6 years. But where they started. I'm not saying But where they started? Smoking ganja. I'm not saying that that is something, I don't know. It only drove me away from it. But I do believe that far too many young people have been affected, their lives have been affected negatively with jobs and so on. Mind you, I don't know if that is all the case today, you know. There's other things kicking in that we're not paying attention to. Other things happening, right? You got people, bosses, who have their friends from wherever they're from. They want them because they know them. They don't know you. You local, yeah. So, but we got ways and means of dealing with that. I've said that to my Minister of Labor. We have to sit down, put the mechanisms in place, put the things in place to stop some of that, so that nobody can get up and want to blame the government because they didn't have cannabis on a trial trip of some kind. So I am worried about that sort of thing. Not that I will not support an effort. Once it's well thought out, you know what the quantity is, because that's what we need to know. And I don't need to know that to vote for it. I don't need to know that. And that would be good if you could figure it out. And there are places that do it that has certain quantities to utilize. I don't know if you want that. I have 3 grandsons, one 21, one 18, and vote all 2 of them. And one 6, and 2 granddaughters. Oh, yeah, where else do you think they want to be registered? And I worry about that. I worry about what the future going to go. What's Cayman future going to be with some of these things that we are coming up with? You have to be careful that we're not doing things to stand up and say, hey, you see what I done for you? See what I done for you? Because it's election year. Be careful. Let us be more than careful. And I think that the minister who knows the street, he knows the street, has the right head on his shoulder about some of these efforts. I'm not saying that we should know now. I am willing to support it, to get it to where the people will have their say on it, and then we hopefully, that we'll be able to have a government that will put the mechanisms in place so that it's not abused. Mr. Speaker, thank you very much. I know I've traversed a wide field. I thank you for your patience. And I think to encourage all members to vote for it. We best think about what your constituents will say. Some people say they're already. That they have hundreds in one area of West Bay, hundreds of people on the cruise industry side. Don't know how much on any of the other issues. I can tell you probably thousands. So think about it. If they're voting against it for votes, they better look out how many votes can be against them. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.